Hello, this is Mike of Nearly Enough Dice, and my microphone is working. That's good. It wasn't before, now it is. Hurrah! Anyway, Mike, Nearly Enough Dice, that's me. Kerbal Space Program, this is this. And, okay, so my Athena Station is basically ready to go. Apart from that, I'm scared. I honestly don't know if it's going to work at all. We can but see. So what I want to do though is, the whole point of it is there's a big science station that's going to land on the moon and it's going to grab all the science, and then all the science is going to get taken back. But the thing itself isn't going to really be all that mobile. So what I have done is I have created, let's go to my sub-assemblies. Don't think I've actually. I'm trying to remember if I've actually ordered my sub-assemblies properly, but this is definitely right. This is my simple science rover, what I have made, and given the given that I'm going with the Athena name for this particular flight, I'm going to call this Pallas. So this is going to be a Pallas rover, and it's got a computer core, it's got a hex for controlling, it's got some solar panels, got some batteries, some RCS fuel, mystery goo. I can't remember which of those canisters is mystery goo and which is the RCS fuel. What's that sound? So I was just trying to read the Batman batteries. Haha. Trying to read what it says on there. Jettison. Okay. Anyway, what I don't think I've put on, that's the barometer, which is probably useless. Or is that the barometer? One of these is the barometer. I don't seem to put a temperature gauge on this thing. Well, that's the thing I'm going to have to do. Anyway, it's got a docking port on the bottom for attaching to a spacecraft, and docking ports on either side. That's to attach to the Athena Station when it's landed, so the rover will come up and deliver its bounty of science. So what the plan is that the Athena Station will land in a particular place on the moon, and this Pallas rover will go off and get science, because its body is in fact a materials bay. So it's going to materials bay, mystery goo, barometer, seismometer? I honestly can't remember what those things are. That's the accelerometer. That's the seismic accelerometer. That's the barometer. The barometer is almost certainly useless on the moon. Well, kind of, it's a science rover. Just chuck everything in. I don't seem to put a temperature on it, or if I have, it's buried somewhere. So I have to put that on something. And the plan is to basically dock it onto a very simple lander, and then so it's going to land on the moon, and it's going to go RCS off, and then it'll rove about and do stuff like that, and then just talk to the Athena Station from time to time. That is the plan. So it's designer rocket time. So that's going to be my, that's going to be the controller of the lander. To be perfectly honest, I wouldn't mind making that the controller. Because once the lander's landed, I don't really need. It's just going to sit there and be useless. Which means what I really need to do. So I need to do this from a slightly different angle, but that's okay. I need to find, because I took it out of the sub-assembly, but if I just take it out of if I just load, I obviously made the whole thing. It's around here somewhere. Simple science rover, yeah, just load the whole thing up and then I build Yeah. So simple science rover is in fact going to be the first stage of my entire ship. There we go. There we go. This is it's the exact same thing. It's just now this is the root part of the whole beast. Now, what do I want to change out a certain thing? Because I've got the small script core, and I've got a bigger script core, and oh, that's bloody huge. No, I'm not going to take that. I really don't need the big one for this, so that's fine. I'm going to go grab a thermometer and slap the thermometer on. Almost certainly I have in fact put a thermometer on here somewhere and I've just forgotten where I've put it. But there you go, now there's a thermometer. So now I can do all the science that I know how to do. I probably want to learn more science as thing goes on, but you know. And it may in fact be a completely stupid idea to have the thing that controls the whole craft is now on top of a docking port, and they're a bit floppy, so that might cause problems. Which may just mean I end up clicking that and going control from here actually. Right, so now what do I need? Now I'm using a Delta V planner that I have upon my tablet, so I don't know if you can see it terribly well. Which is telling me that I need 630 meters per second to land the craft. So that's what I'm going. That is what I'm going to build. So you build in reverse order. So what's the last thing you're going to want to do? The last thing this thing is going to want to do is land. That is the last thing I want it that I care about. So what am I going to need? I'm going to need. I've got new landing strips. When did I get those? They're heavy duty, so I probably don't care about them. Offers a heavy duty method for planting yourself firmly on the ground without the severe consequences. New company planting yourself firmly on the ground. Suspension upper limit 0.47. Well, I mean these have done up to this point, so they're going to be fine. Won't be fine for this. That's what I landed my original manned landing with, so they should do for this. So I'm bringing them out just so I know where they are. So pretty much it's just going to be that and some fuel and some kind of rocket engine. So let's go grab a fuel tank. We're going to start with a very small fuel tank. Let's start with a very small fuel. No, that's very small. It's really quite small. Do I have nuclear engines yet? Alright, that doesn't give me very much Delta V though, because that is a very small fuel tank. What's the next one up? Okay, still quite small. Actually, let's try without that engine. Let's try the old standard 4878. See, there you go. That's loads. So we'll go down. We'll go down a tank. Okay. Apparently, I need in between that tank and that tank. How much is that? That's 45 as opposed to 90. So okay, I'd rather have too much than too little. So there you go. That is almost certainly going to fall over. That's obviously quite a. If I just stick legs on that, even on that's what it's going to look like extended. That's going to fall over. That's just going to fall over. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to widen out the base, and recently I've got various you know, bits of structural bits. Essentially what I got bits that I was going to make a rover with, like a Kerbal sat on it type rover. So I'm literally just going to turn on angle snapping by prodding the buttons until I find the one that is actually angle snapping. And then I'm going to completely fail to put it in the angle that I want it to be. And then see if this will work. There you go. That's completely daft and stupid, I like it. This is one of those things where really I should get what is it Infernal Robotics, I think, that can make things that'll fold in and fold out and stuff like that. This is probably at that point that I should get that. Still have 710 meters per second, all that nonsense, which is I need 630, so I should have more than that. Should be more than enough spare. That's like well over 10% bonus. But I will just check how much does that weigh. 0.1875, 0.125. That's actually I'll be better off using that one actually. That will save me some weight. So I'll use this one. There you go. That's given me a bit more delta V. Sweet, sweet, sweet. So I've now got more like 80 extra delta V. I am making the assumption that the RCS is in fact going to be enough to lift it off, but I'll think of something. If it doesn't work, I'll think of something. Alright, so that should be enough to get it from orbit to landing. So now I need to make it a stage that will transfer from Kerbin orbit to moon orbit. So I need a transfer. That is 1,261 meters per second. So structural stack decoupler. Womp. Yeah. I'm just gonna slap. Gonna assume I'm just, you know, slap an engine on and see what it looks like. I generally use the 7S there because it's got a really low mass and therefore its specific thrust isn't particularly brilliant, but then the specific impulse, the specific impulse is about the same for most of the engines points, 300. This might be the point where my atomic rocket motor comes into its own, because it's got a specific impulse of 800 in the vacuum, just with 300. But it weighs a ton. Well, it weighs 2.25 tons as opposed to 0.1 tons. So very often the amount of weight it adds vastly overpowers the good it does. Now I need to go into this 1,261, so I've got 1688. That's quite a lot more than, so I might be over cooking things. So I'll go a fuel tank down and see what happens. Okay, that's 1,000. So I'll give it a fuel tank and a half, basically, as opposed to. Where's my rocket gone? 1,261. 1384. Yeah, it'll do. That should be enough. And then finally, I need to actually get out of orbit. I need 4,775 to get out of the actual orbit, and an extra 56 to circularize. And maths. Well, that's about 800, 900. For the lowest stage, a total of 6,092. So I'm going to be over this, but I'm alright with it. I have no issue with going over. Right, stack separator is the very next thing I need to do, and I'm not going to find that in that section. I'm going to put in now. I'm going to assume that I'm going to need a big fat set of engines at this point. So I'm not actually use it. I'm just going to go. Well, what's that for? Oh, that's probably for that actually. So you literally stick that on there or something. Never used that part. Don't know if it's good for anything. So we'll have an adapter. I don't know if adapters are really useful. Mostly what they seem to do is induce wobble. I'm then going to chuck in a set of reaction wheels so that I can control the craft beneath this. This is one of the joints that I'm suspicious of, the adapter, and then a whatever. So I'm gonna chuck in some struts. I don't know if I don't know if I do strutting properly. In fact, I almost certainly don't do strutting properly. Probably lost it. Should be triangles all over the place. I mean, I've already got a bit of a wobbly connection up here. I tend to make a lot of wobbly rockets, which is probably not a good thing. Let's be subtle. Big orange thing. Didn't mean to do that. What I meant to do is hit shift, and then I can do that thing. Now I'm also going to need to know the thrust to weight ratio. Thrust to weight ratio is not that important once I'm in orbit, but it's extremely important when I start from the ground. So what? Let's chuck a mainsail on just to be subtle. That gives me a thrust ratio of 3.04, which is quite a lot. It's probably more than I need. So we can go down to the skipper. Thrust ratio 1.4, which has also put my delta V up, because if you compare that to the mainsail, 3171. 3579 is quite a lot of difference. I think I'm going to try and make up the rest with boosters, because I like boosters. The Kerbal, obviously the Kerbal attitude is more boosters. If in doubt, more boosters. What am I leaving? I'm saying essentially 5,000 by so S2. Where's S2? S2. Yeah. So I need, by S3, I need that to be well, more than that. Let's do it the subtle way. Actually, let's do it the proper subtle way. So I grab the decoupler and then I just hit that up until... now that's 4774, which is very close to what I want. In fact, it is just under what... That should only just get me to orbit. I'm actually reasonably tempted just to leave it as is, because I do have spare in this section, and I've got spare here, so I'm not sure how much how much spare do I have though. Let's try a thing. The thing about adding fuel at this, literally at this stage, at this lower stage, is probably the best time to add the fuel because I'm getting rid of it, and that allegedly takes me up to 4913, which should be enough with some to spare. So we're going to change this to Pallas 1 launcher. I'm going to save that. And apart from the ridiculous lack of aerodynamics in stock, and so, you know, if I was playing with FAR or something, then the logical thing to do would be to put fairings around all this. And probably I want Infernal Robotics or something to fold those legs away, so they fold away completely, and then when it's not until we get out of the atmosphere that we can unfold those legs. It's almost certainly going to go horribly wrong, because it's a thing I made. And if I have learned anything about this game, is that I'm an idiot. And I should not be allowed to design rockets. What is quite nice about just doing this launch is that, unlike all the Athena stuff where I've been launching things and then getting them into, and then docking with things, is I have to be very careful about when I set off and all that kind of stuff, and I don't have to give two hoots about this right now. Right, we are going to load up copy launcher from 0, copy calc ISP from 0, copy xnode from 0. Those are the 3 scripts that I use to launch. And that should get me into 100. Getting rid of that. Go away. Go away. There you go. That should get me into a nice parking orbit. So let's see how well this goes. Oh, and I forgot to do the thing. And I forgot to do the other thing, which is to turn off all the RCS. Well, turn off the... Actually, I'll just turn off RCS. I'm relying on reaction wheels, not RCS, for this. Now, there's quite a lot of wobble. But then there always is, in any rocket I make, there's a ton of wobble, because I'm really bad at rocket design. Oh, that's quite loud. The thing I need to be worried about right now is electric charge to keep these wheels going. Now it's not turning as much as I would like, but largely that's going to be due to the solid rocket boosters. They tend to be a bit unsubtle. Also, my engine doesn't gimbal that much. I don't think that engine gimbals very much. So the solid rocket boosters are likely to keep it going in one direction. And as you can see, it's gradually turning over and getting to the right pitch, which is good. I don't have to be too fussy about this orbit, as long as it gets to orbit. That's all that matters. One thing you can check is look at the exhaust trail and make sure it's going in the right direction. If your exhaust trail is doing that means you're falling out the sky, which is probably not what you want. My apoapsis is nicely above my periapsis. That's all good. Lots of wobble, which might mean that my eventual orbit is going to be a bit pants. But I'm still vaguely on target. I should care more about wobble. Like, try and work out what's causing the wobble and why what's going on and why. I think it is literally just the front end of this thing with a single Clampetron Senior. Actually, I think a chunk of it is this here. So possibly I could have done with some struts from this part of the rocket to this part of the rocket. I'm going to want to launch a couple of these, I think. So might have to have a look at redesigning the launcher, because this joint seems nice and solid, but then I've put lots of struts on it. So I might try strutting this one up and see how that goes. I forgot to put flight engineer on this. That was silly. Things I don't know. Well, there's all sorts of stuff I don't know. One of the things I don't know is why it's throttling down. I mean, there is a routine that is meant to be trying to cleverly work out the throttle so it doesn't expend too much energy going faster than terminal velocity, because that's just wasted fuel. You're pushing against the air too hard. But it won't matter when it clicks over to 40k. It's gonna, there you go, full throttle. I think I need to look at my launcher script. Yeah, that's where the wobble's coming from. How are we doing for fuel in here? I've got tons of fuel. Either my launch profile is super mega efficient, which given I came up with it seems unlikely, or the delta V calculations are a bit wonky. Well, actually no, what am I saying? I'm not actually at Aquaps yet. So I'm basically going towards the horizon. So my eventual, even before I let's move things out of the way. Even before I get to get to the stage of coasting to Aquap. So it's basically going to keep going until I get to over 100 in Aquaps. Oh, it's died. entertaining. Right, my apoapsis is set. I don't know if it's actually going. Right, there's this. Right, it's failed. That's unfortunate. One sec from ED. Ah, okay. Okay. I've run out of space, so I can't run circ from AB. But I can now delete the launcher script. There you go. I've forgotten how my launchers work. Basically, when I hit the circ from AB, when it hits apoapsis, we'll circularize the orbit. Where's my apoapsis? It's rapidly going down because I'm still in atmosphere. So my launch profile was so flat with this particular rocket that I'm spending a lot more time in atmosphere than I otherwise would ordinarily do. So my apoapsis is in fact dribbling away quite quickly. Where am I? Okay, so I'm just going to quit that. So my launcher does not work with this particular rocket. That's interesting. That's interesting to know. So what we are going to do is we're going to turn on SAS. I'm going to go prograde, and I'm just going to burn until my apoapsis is a bit more healthy. In fact, my apoapsis is... Oh, where am I? Where am I? Yeah, okay. I wonder if I need to add something to my launcher, which basically says, at the coast to apoapsis stage, if I'm still within the atmosphere, because I nearly circularized the orbit directly from launch. I've almost got a workable orbit directly from launch there. Let's just go forward a little bit. I mean, it's fine. It's just so long as I just don't want to end up with my apoapsis going below 70k while I'm still in atmo. I clearly need to adjust my my orbit. So that's, I think that's, yeah. Let's just delete that node. Actually, I think that's just causing problems. Ooh, I'm getting very wobbly because I'm doing physics acceleration. Let's stop that. So there's a certain amount of wobble. Yeah, that's annoying. Just worried that it's going to shake the ship apart. Okay, so I'm very close to getting out of atmo. And it's still my periapsis is still just a bit above. So it looks like it's going to make it. I need to adjust my launch profile quite clearly. Or possibly I need to accept the fact that there's not a simple, you know, one-fits-all kind of deal. I'm beginning to run out of electric charge, which is slightly worrying. And I'm close enough. I'm out the atmosphere enough that I'm reasonably confident I can put my panels out. Which I think is that's just slowing because I'm as you can see I'm coming into the shadow. of the planet. I think I am just going to point straight up and just gonna come on. Will I bother? If I can get out of atmosphere, all is lovely. Right, okay. Everything's fine now. And my apoapsis is back over to right. So now I can run circum AV again, and assuming I have enough electric charge by the time I get around there, everything will be fine. My electric charge is beginning to dribble. This is not quite the ordinary, boring, let's not worry about it too much launch. Right. Everything is now fine. Everything is lovely. I'm in an orbit. 101 versus 104. That's pretty good. Excellent. So, things were a bit worrying for a moment, but now everything's fine. But of course it's all dark because life sucks. Yeah, the panels are out, but I've actually only got panels on the rover, but you can't see because it's dark. Yeah, you can just about see that there are panels on the rover that are out, which obviously aren't getting anything because it's dark. Now, moon. You put the moon on the horizon, and you try and make a maneuver node. Only it will select absolutely everything, so I can work out except what you're aiming for. Therefore, I've got only a very small amount of stuff in that stage. I could probably just junk it, and I probably should have junked it slightly before I got my orbit, so that it will actually fall to Earth instead of becoming space junk. Ooh, we have a moon encounter. Let's dial it back until we don't, and then dial it forwards until we do. Just so I spend I don't want to, I want to spend as little delta V as I really need to. And we will junk that. Because that did its job, it got me to orbit, and that's really all it needs to do. That engine is now active. And now all I need to do is tell it to follow that node. So calc run calc ISP run x node ISP. I should put those two things together. Basically, what the it's entertaining. a long burn. I wonder if this is going to work. It actually calculates the actual ISP of the craft, and then because the estimated burn is what the game thinks because of what's gone on thus far. And the last thing it knows is I had a great big huge fuel tank with a great big huge engine going whoosh! And here I am, I've got a much smaller engine, and possibly I'm beginning to regret having such a small engine. But maybe it's going to be alright. Basically what those pairs of programs do is one calculates the ISP by going through all the active engines, and so if I have different engines running at the same time with different ISPs, you can work out what they are. This is simple maths. You can look that up on the Kerbal Space Program wiki. It's not even a cost thing. I just do the maths in cost. And then it works out the delta V that you require for the maneuver. Well, you get it from you can get that from the maneuver node itself. And then it says, okay, with the rocket equation, I can go from that, work out how much mass I'm going to use. With the ISP of the engine, I know how long it's going to take to use that amount of mass. Therefore, this is how long the burn's going to be. Therefore, I'm going to start the burn halfway, so that the burn is halfway between the node. Right, so I need to decide when, because I'm not going to sit here for 15 minutes waiting for it to do that, because that's dull. So I need to get an idea of how long it's going to take before the thing. Do I have a do I even have a calculator on this? May have forgotten to put a calculator on it. And those are widgets. That's not helping me at all. You'd assume it comes with a calculator, but you never know. What is calculator? There we go. So it's 195 seconds. Point a bit, but so it's 97 seconds. Then we divide it by 60. So it's going to be a minute and a half on 1.65 minutes. So, oh, okay. I can apparently update my alarm clock. So I'm going to give it a 2-minute thing on alarm clock. That's another thing I need to add to the script. I need to add automatic warping. But I haven't, so there we go. And I'm less than 120 kilometers out. So maybe I should start making my parking orbits outside in 120 kilometers, so I can do that more often. So with alarm clock, I can set up the alarm and set the node and all that kind of good stuff. So we'll delete on close. So around about 1 minute 30 to go is when it should hit the burn and go to the moon. And then I'm going to call the episode done. So this is going to take a great big long time to do. I guess we'll find out if it works or not. Yeah, so I've been Mike of Nearly Enough Dice, and I hope you're enjoying these videos. Hit like and subscribe if you have been. You can find us at nearlyenoughdice.com, which is our role-playing game team podcast and blog. And while this continues its burn, which is going to be another, well, couple of minutes, in fact. So it's over a 3-minute burn, this. Next episode, landing, hopefully. So, until then, reach for the stars.